One small computer update gone wrong and the world comes to a crashing halt. So as we navigate our increasingly digital world, is the largest IT outage in history a wake-up call on just how vulnerable we've become?
Flights grounded.
It stinks. It's scary.
Banks, media outlets, government agencies, hospital and emergency services plunged into chaos.
One flaw can cause absolute chaos and havoc on critical infrastructures globally.
The depth of the world's dependence on big tech exposed.
Windows operates 3 out of every 4 desktop computers.
How did we allow for one company, one entity, to control whether or not America and the rest of the world can be in business?
Microsoft reports 8.5 million devices were hit by Friday's outage, less than 1% of all Windows machines. The cause? A botched software update by cybersecurity company CrowdStrike.
Elon Musk posted on X that he has deleted CrowdStrike from all of his systems.
CrowdStrike is a very respectable company. They test and they test and they test. So someone really dropped the ball.
Shares of CrowdStrike taking a battering today in the market.
CrowdStrike has close to 30,000 customers, including nearly 300 members of the Fortune 500.
No wonder when there's a mishap at CrowdStrike, it affects the globe. This may well turn out to be, in terms of the actual impact on personal and commercial lives, the biggest cyber and computer incident ever.
But today, amid calls to trust our software suppliers,
they're a trusted company with trusted products.
The price of a digitised world and the dangers of monopolisation has been laid bare.
We've let vulnerabilities creep into the system, and one of those big vulnerabilities is concentration.
So as the world recovers from the chaos,
we know what the issue is. We're resolving and have resolved the issue.
Is it time we rethink our reliance on digital technology and the handful of major companies who provide it?
It requires a major dialogue with the tech industry. It requires looking strategically at how tech evolves, because you're not going to rip this all out and start again.
How did we design a system that could take down the world?
Dr. Toby Feakin is Australia's former Ambassador for Cyber Affairs and Critical Technology. Toby, were you surprised that one company's error could have such a catastrophic fallout?
I tell you what, I mean, it's evidence of the fact that we now live in this global tech ecosystem where one company can have a huge difference. We do have this global tech interdependency now, and I think this has been quite an extreme example of where, if something does go wrong or a mistake is made, it can impact just so widely across the globe.
Is this all from just one person entering a bad line of code? Like, can we blame this all on just one guy? How did this happen?
Oh my God! I would hate it if you could, because that one guy, they would be sweating and they wouldn't be in a great place right now. Laying the blame at the feet of one individual, I think, would be a pretty raw deal. However, this is the impacts that we've seen. 8.5 million Microsoft Windows devices being impacted. If we compare that to, and I know this was a cyber incident, not an attack, but if we think about one of the biggest global incidents ever, which was the WannaCry ransomware incident back in 2017, that impacted 300,000 Microsoft Windows devices in 150 countries. So, the proportions here are enormous. And the kind of infrastructure points that have been impacted by a mistake, I mean, it really is a worst case scenario in many respects, apart from the fact that this wasn't a malicious cyber attack.
And that's what you've got to worry about, right, Toby, that perhaps this is giving hackers some pretty nasty ideas?
Yeah, look, the one thing, the whole hacking industry is its own real culture. And on the whole, a hacker won't want to reinvent the wheel. And if they see that someone has created a weakness or found an avenue, they will often pile in off the back of that. And we've seen that, whether it be incidents, and I don't know if those watching tonight or yourselves have ever heard of incidents like SolarWinds, like the Microsoft Exchange hack that went on. But in all those instances, we saw that other hackers understood what went on, learnt those lessons, and if you like, jumped in on the back of that to try and exploit it.
This CrowdStrike company, they do antivirus software. There's dozens of other options for people looking for antivirus software, but it looks like all the big banks, airports, airlines were using just this company. I mean, are we too dependent on just a small number of powerful tech companies?
Well, I mean, firstly, you know, the reason they use it is because it's incredibly good software, but it is symptomatic of certain firms having huge market share. In China, yes, there were impacts of this incident, but only really on Western firms. And it's symptomatic of the fact that China has gone through quite a process of trying to nationalize not only its software industry, but its hardware industry and its tech supply chain writ large. You know, CrowdStrike is an American company, and as we've seen in geopolitics recently, it's really been shaping the way that technology choices are being made in particular countries, and China, that has certainly been the case.
Well, Dr. Feakin, hopefully next time we chat to you, it's not about a global outage, a technology outage.
So.
We really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.